That's a piece of music by Snatum Kaur. I don't know if you've heard her. Um, the same person who introduced me to the works of Dr. David Hawkins introduced me to her music, The Voice of an Angel. And just incidentally, when I was in CC for 2 months back in 2005, there was a little restaurant that I liked to go to. And there was a woman there with her headdress on, and she was there with a retreat of other Sikhs, and that was her. I'm convinced of it, because we had conversations, and she said she goes there every year. So thank you for playing that for me, one of my favorites. Love of Life finally turned the tide. There's hope. There's always hope. So, have you ever been in that place where you had to make a decision? I got to tell you, my neighbor's wife was gone for 10 days. She went to see her grandchild graduate, and he stayed home, so Phil and I had him for dinner. Nothing fancy, just your usual dinner. And we're sitting there, and at the end of it, Phil says, "Well, would you like some ice cream?" And his face lit up like that. And Phil said, "Well, I've got 2 Haagen-Dazs bars. One is dark chocolate with raspberry, and the other one is dark chocolate with caramel swirls in the vanilla." And he goes, "Oh, oh, oh." And he was genuine. He wasn't, we just sat there. And he finally just looked up and said, "You decide for me." So he got the caramel, and he said he loved it. Okay, decisions, 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 crossroads. Big, big, life-changing decisions can just feel excruciating because there's no clarity. Either way has its pros, either way has its cons. Either way, it can be painful. What are you going to do? You have to decide. And that can be a lot of things. At our age, it may be, do I stay home, or is it time to move in with the kids? Or is it time to move in with the other neighbors I've seen leave? Well, yeah. Decisions, decisions, decisions. It really can feel like the devil in the deep blue sea. Myrtle Fillmore, in her book, How to Let God Help You, which I highly recommend, she said, know what you want and know why you want it. And that's a lot easier than it sounds, especially when you're not sure what you want, or you're sure what you want, but you don't know what's motivating you. It's this unconscious squeeze that's pushing you to live a different way, do things differently. So I want to talk about the devil in the deep blue sea. Number 1, there is no such thing as a devil. Okay? No such thing as a devil. I said that one Sunday. This woman came running. "I'm sure I misunderstood you. You said there's no devil." And I said, "That's right, there's no devil. We opened every service as we do here. One presence, one power." I got this 12-page handwritten letter during the week, and I never saw her again. Some people need a devil. There is no devil. There is the divine presence and our ignorance of that presence. And by ignorance, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean we fail to sense it, we don't pay attention, we don't believe it, which is okay too. That doesn't change a thing. The divine presence is. Okay. So when we say my choice is the devil, what are we saying? Well, maybe the devil's on the surface, because the other choice is the deep blue sea. Maybe it's that superficial stuff. Maybe it's that little voice inside that says, well, what if I make a mistake? What if I make a mistake? Oh, glory be, don't make a mistake. How are you going to learn? How are you going to learn? Mistakes are a double blessing. They're a double blessing. They can be painful, they can be difficult, they can cause us remorse and regret and all of that stuff. And at the same time, they teach us. So if we find ourselves stuck in a place where we have a lot of remorse or guilt over something we've done in the past, then I invite you to take a look at that. Just take a look at it, not with the intention of beating yourself up, but with the intention of learning the deep truth about who you are. Who you are. If you ask, that divine presence answers, and I know that firsthand for a fact. And then we have the deep blue sea. Oh, the deep blue sea. And that's the choice that's like, well, what if I get in over my head? What if I get in over my head and I've made the wrong choice and I can't handle it, and that just causes more problems, and on and on and on and on and on. How deep do you want to go into all of that fear, worry, and doubt? Deep blue sea. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to decide something or nothing. Have you ever thought about what's between the devil and the deep blue sea? There's a spot. And I'm going to tell you this story from my childhood. There was one person, one of my mother figures, my Aunt Maudley, Modley. Her real name was Mariella, but we couldn't say Mariella, so it came out Maudley, and that was her name for life. I trusted her because of her gentleness, her patience, and her strength. Those three things. Never married, never had children. Her gentleness, patience, and strength. She was the only one I'd let pull a tooth, even if it was just hanging by a little bit of skin. And nobody touched it but Aunt Maudley. Well, Aunt Maudley, I'm from Tennessee, Aunt Maudley taught me how to float. Do you guys float? Can anybody float? I know you can float in salt water. Can you float in lake water and your pool water? She taught me how to float. So we would go out in the Gunner Bell Lake, and she would stand there and she would coach me. She'd say, okay, lean back, lift your feet up, put your head in the water, and arch your back. And she would touch me underneath, right here, small of my back, to get me to arch my back. And then she would teach me how to breathe. And she would say over and over again, I've got you, I've got you, I've got you. Well, when I opened my eyes to see that she really had me, she had me like this, a little piece of material on my bathing suit. That was it. I mean, she wasn't doing anything. But in my mind, I knew she had me. She had me. She had me. God's got you. God's got me, no matter what. Even if I make a less than good decision, if I make a mistake, a mistake, there is nothing that God can't fix. Can't fix. But I have to cooperate. I have to put my head in the water so I can't hear anything. I have to arch my back. I have to breathe. I have to do what is necessary to float. And you know what? If you're between a rock and a hard spot, that's another one. I like Devil and Deep Blue Sea myself. If you find yourself, it's okay to float for a while and say, I'm not ready to make the decision. You'll know when you're ready. People tell me that all the time. And it's true. You do know. Because we are wired for information from the divine presence. We are wired for it. We know when we get an answer because we hear it intuitively, we feel it energetically in our guts. We know, and oh, maybe we don't want to know, really. And maybe we don't want to do what we're guided to do, and that is super hard to do. And it's only through the course of time that we see the wisdom that comes through those very, very, very difficult decisions that we make. So, my advice to you, if you're making a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea, choose the deep blue sea. There are a lot of fish in the sea that you haven't seen. There's a lot of teeming life in the sea. The sea nurtures you and feeds you. Choose the deep blue sea. You say, well, okay, that's easier said than done. Sometimes we just can't make a decision. What am I going to do? I go to my head, I'm never going to know what to do. What I have to do is go inside, and that's called discernment. Discernment. So how do we discern anything? Well, the first thing we have to do is sit down, shut up, and listen up. That's one of my favorites too. That means peace, be still. Still yourself. Now, this is a technique, so I'm giving you the steps. Be still. Turn your awareness within and sense any energy that is pent up in you. Is there sadness? Is there regret? Is there some worry that's robbing you of your peace of mind? Is there some resentment you have had and still carry after all this time? And I mean 2 minutes, all this time. Where is that energy? And then I invite you to feel it. Really feel it. Get sad, cry, scream, shake your fist, whatever it is you need to do. Feel that energy. And when you feel it, ask yourself a question. Am I ready to give this up? This is not about self-forgiveness. This is not about forgiving anyone else. It's a simple question. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Right? Are you ready to give this up? You don't even need to know where it's coming from. What triggered it? You don't even need to know that. You just need to be willing to give it up. And the divine presence does everything else. It reminds me of the story of Jesus healing the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethsaida is one way to say it. Bethesda's another way. There were all these porticos, porches, covered porches. And all of the sick, the lame, the blind, they were all there on all of these 5 porches. And the belief was that the water would stir up, it would bubble up. And when that happened, the first, you get in the water as quick as you can, and you get in the water and you would be healed. So Jesus was there teaching, and he saw this man who'd been there for 38 years. 38 years. And he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" And he said, "Yes, but..." Every time the water bubbles up, everybody jumps in the water before me, and he needed somebody to put him in the water because he was paralyzed. So I just sit here. I guess I'll sit here for another 38 years. Don't know how old he was. But Jesus said, do you want to be healed? Yes. Pick up your mat and walk. And he did. Just stood right up, rolled it up, merrily on his way. The amazing power of belief. The amazing power of letting go of our excuses, letting go of how life used to be, even how life is supposed to be, because that takes all the fun out. If you know how it's supposed to be, then you can't really accept what is. So, do you want? Ask yourself that question. Are you ready to give up this pent-up energy in your heart, your mind, your body? And if the answer is yes, then just be in that space of emptiness. Yes. Feel the power in that empty space. Pure potential for something else. And then the last question. What is mine to do? What is mine to do? And know that the answer is going to come to you at the right time, in the right way, in a way that you can understand. And when you get that knowing, and you will, have courage, step forward, and expect only good. Because only good stuff comes from God. Only good stuff. So the devil in the deep blue sea. Wait. And then dive right on in when your guidance comes. That's it.